with the unspeakable sadness, of course. Today, the faithful assembled once more for a monumental European showdown. Rassie Erasmus has brought back the international stars on block. 6 changes to the side this week. Up front, Donica Ryan and CJ Stander return to the pack, 2 stalwarts of Ireland's outstanding autumn campaign, and that 8, an altogether different proposition to the depleted unit that took on the Tigers here a year ago. Conor Murray at 9, playing some of the best rugby of his life. Tyler Blayandal at 10, tormentor of Glasgow here in that extraordinary game in October. Scannell and Tauta are combining beautifully at the moment, and then they have Earls and Zebo returning to the back 3 after being on Irish duty. An enviable firepower. After a 3-month wait, the Tigers finally ready to unleash Manu Tuolangi from the start. His troublesome groin injury now hopefully a thing of the past, and having been tested off the bench in the last couple of matches. Their halfbacks are in great nick. Burns, the Premiership Player of the Month for November, and Ben Youngs, of course, England's Player of the Autumn Series. All eyes on his contest with Conor Murray in a potential Lions showdown. Ben's brother Tom is back as skipper, out last week with a back spasm, changing a tyre. It's a 100th appearance for Logo Milapola, switched late to the tight head today. Ellis Genge, an inclusion on the loose head. And a handful of European debutants lying on Munster's bench. Dutoy, Marshall and Klein all yet to taste this kind of atmosphere. Andrew Conway perhaps unlucky to be left out of the 15. Tigers, they'll be looking to the likes of Genge and Cilliers for some extra power perhaps in the latter stages. So these two familiar foes. It is a familiar picture. So much shared history between the clubs. The 2002 final, perhaps the most celebrated of the meetings and the most debated, largely thanks to Neil Back's intervention. But of course, a year ago to the day they met here, and Leicester came away with the spoils, as they have on their only 2 trips to Limerick. Staggering record, really, given that Munster have lost only 4 times here in 59 European matches.
Please also welcome Munster and my captain,
A wall of sound, a fabulous wall of sound, passion everywhere. It means so much to so many. Munster have played just one of their Champions Cup matches, remember that epic performance, jammed full of emotion against Glasgow. Romain Poit is our referee, a 77th European game, and coincidentally in charge here a year ago. Leicester on a decent run at the moment. They've won 6 of their last 7. Munster haven't been beaten since the tragic passing of Anthony Foley. An extraordinary transformation of this side, now so confident, so full of purpose, and they will get us underway. It is time for these two to lock horns, to light up this grand stadium on the most glorious of afternoons in Limerick. Tyler Blayandal lifts it on its way. Taken in by Owen Williams, playing at 12, of course, combining with Freddie Burns in the Leicester midfield. And this is Zebo, eager to make the most of a first chance to run into those open spaces. Stander, so brilliant for Ireland through the course of the autumn internationals, as was Murray. Blayandal to Scannell, that's blocked by Beetham. And Blayandal tidies up the New Zealander who pulled all the strings so magnificently in that famous match in October against the Warriors. Murray.
Use it, Red!
Organising under a little bit of pressure here from Romain Poit. Stander again on the carry, hammering his way into Mulipola.
No, Red!
Early tester from Murray, that's gone forwards from Beetham, but Romain Poit's happy enough that was gathered in, or is he? Surely he'll call them back.
Well, straight away, you know, we're getting a taste of what the physicality is going to be like today. Munster with all the possession and carrying it in very well, but you know, the defence from Leicester has been pretty good so far, and I think when you think back of those two victories that they got over the years here at Thomond Park, you know, that was the main feature of their game, you know, their physicality, and certainly that's the way they've started.
So they're the scrum stats. Munster have been going so well in this department. It has been the cornerstone, that and the very well functioning line out, and as you were mentioning, David, the defence really watertight under the new instruction, relatively new instruction of Jack Nienaber.
Yeah, and for me, this is going to be a big part of the game today. I think obviously we've heard the changes before the game, and you know, I think it's going to be a big test for John Ryan. But you know, I think he's going to give it socks.
Oz.
Just looking back at the first play, and Blayendal, watching him in the warm-up, he's not the quickest 10. He doesn't attack the line. He doesn't really take the ball to the line, but he does make his decisions really late. That, look, coupled with Leicester's really small defence in terms of width, means they have to blitz on the outside. If you can throw that pass over the top, you're away around the corner. It's not this guy finding the corners this afternoon. Manu Tuolangi coming back, stood in the 13 slot. He'll want to blitz out the line at every opportunity. It's like making him come and chucking the ball over his head.
Blayendal, he can turn Beetham, who's calm under pressure. Tigers regather just outside their 22. First bit of meaningful possession for them. Burns. Early blast from Ellis Genge. Brought off the bench. Something of a late decision this afternoon. And Tuolangi swinging the ball onwards. This is George Worth, very much a rookie at this level. No Matt Tate available, no Talusa Vayanu. And that's way too far from a Tigers perspective, and potentially an opportunity for Sweetenham. Conjuring something here, Topston.
Stay there, Red.
Ben Youngs, who will be closely marshalled, no doubt, after his exploits in the November internationals. The ball is loose. It's been swept up here by Tommy O'Donnell. Real battle for territory in these early exchanges.
Hold!
Burns underneath it. Sweetenham right up on him.
Munster quite happy to just turn the pressure with the kick. One of the stats though leading into the game is Leicester deprive the opposition of ball more than any other side currently. Only 16 minutes on average, so Munster may have to start going through the phases if they want to get some patterns of play. Maybe a bit too early for that though.
Zebo. Well tackled by McCaffrey. Stander though. Brilliant from Stander. Bustling run through the middle of the ruck. Murray on his shoulder. Blayendal. It's gone backwards, says Poit. This is Scannell. Munster closing in. Scannell again. It's Niall this time.
There's two injuries down. CJ Stander has taken a big hit in that carry. And there's also, I can't quite see, but there's a Leicester player down as well.
In the meantime, McCaffrey's doing his level best to slow up possession, and he's done enough for the Tigers. Strong work over the ball from the Tigers number 8, but desperate work from the Tigers, who were just splintered and all at sea from this bust from CJ Stander.
Yeah, I mean, we know what he can do. We've seen him with Ireland, we've seen him with Munster, and he's a fantastic ball carrier. And you know, it definitely seemed like both teams were just nullifying each other, but he managed to find a bit of space around the breakdown. Fantastic hands there from Jaco Taute. He's been fantastic for Munster ever since he's arrived, and unfortunately we're going to have to say goodbye to him in a month or so. But yeah, CJ Stander, great carrying. Just thought maybe he could have given it a fraction earlier, but I think Conor Murray was always marked there, and you know, he's always going to be tackled by Beetham.
Austin, what have you found?
Well, we saw it in the warm-up actually. Munster practicing defending this against Leicester, getting that guard in place, and they've done it against Leicester. Genge is way too far away as the first defender, 10 metres away. Sander sees that, he goes through the space. Leicester overcommit to the breakdown, thinking it's a turnover, but then the work rate of Beetham is absolutely fantastic. It's only his pace that makes up that ground, otherwise that's a try under the post for Murray.
Possibly if that ball had just gone a little bit, a little bit more forward in front of Conor Murray, he might have been able to check his speed there and make it a little bit easier for Beetham to catch him.
Well, the Tigers' defence early in the season was a cause of great concern. Scott Hansen, of course, paid for it by losing his job, but they have been working very, very hard at it to the point where they have tightened things up immeasurably in recent weeks.
It was around that specific area, getting the guard in place quickly and then organising your defence from that point out. You allow spaces around the breakdown, you're going to get punished.
Tom Youngs, man of the match against Racing at Welford Road. Missed out on the East Midlands derby last week, but restored to the Tigers setup.
It's great defence, it's great moral defence from Munster.
One stop, one green.
Keith Earls had a memorable day in many different ways. In that match against Glasgow, of course, the fateful red card. Kilcoyne on the carry. O'Donnell cut down by Mike Fitzgerald. Blayandal. Sweetenham chasing hard. Worth with his eyes on the ball. It's Sweetenham's. Couldn't quite get it away to Tauta. Manitou Alangi finds the touchline.
I think from Munster supporters' point of view, we've seen Sweetenham do this all season. His work rate is phenomenal, and he's got great gas as well. He's got this hurling background as well. He just seems to have an extra set of skills that maybe other guys don't. So he's very, very dangerous. Got great gas and a great engine as well.
And I think the difference so far between the sides has been the accuracy of the kicking from Munster. That's absolutely on the money, on a sixpence. When you're a fullback or a winger and you can't move your feet, you can't get up to the ball like an advancing player. Ben Youngs at the minute, his box kicking's been way too variable, either too far or too short. And it's an area of the game that, it's a game that's going to be as tight as this, will be decisive.
Munster are going to have to be disciplined because, as we saw there, Leinster, one of their strengths is that maul. They got great go forward last year and it led to a lot of their tries, and Munster defended very well.
First scrum penalty goes Leicester's way. John Ryan doesn't like it a great deal. Interesting policy by the Tigers today, introducing Genge late on the loose head and Mullapola switching across to the tight head. Ellis Genge, just 21 years old, in something of a hurry by the seeming of things, already an England international, but this very much a key part of his rugby education.
Also, you don't see many tight heads stood out in the midfield as a ball carrier. Mullapola, a really good and important ball carrier for Leicester. You sense if you see him carrying the ball more than being used as a decoy, he won't play more than 50.
Well, Tigers need to secure possession.
That's great D from Peter O'Mahony there in the line-out. Very important steal.
Murray again, Sweetenham timing his run. Thompson under a proper aerial bombardment. It's gone backwards and Stander gathers it in. Big net gain for the Munster men. This is Kilcoyne. Half slips through the tackle of Slater. The advantage is being played. Tigers off their feet. Blayandal with a shot to nothing. Sends it wide and finds Zebo. And back we go.
Green off his feet.
Yeah, look, I think it comes back to the maul, the line out, and those penalties we were talking about. Obviously, Munster unlucky to get a penalty from the scrum there, possibly, and I think they realised the danger of this Leinster forward packing and them getting possession and getting a chance to maul. Peter O'Mahony is up there, and that's something Munster weren't doing last year. They weren't weren't defending those lineouts as well, and certainly when it came to ground, they're getting beaten up in the maul. And this is obviously a very different mentality, I think, from the Munster pack. Obviously welcoming back the likes of Tommy O'Donnell as well, and Peter O'Mahony.
Just such an important man for Munster, a captain who has dealt with so much, shouldered so much in recent weeks in the wake of Anthony Foley's passing, but he has led from the front and he has led Munster so well, undefeated since that terrible moment. Blayendal on target, Munster up and running.
Yeah, I mean that's an important kick, great kick, and now I suppose it's just backing it up, getting back. And I know Munster know that Leicester are going to come at them again, and it's just trying to deprive them of ball, I think, and deprive the pack of ball, and just meet them up front.
Stander again, just relishing the contact, but he's met hard by Manu Tuolangi. Murray's got great depth on that. George Worth, what an introduction to European rugby it is for the youngster. McCaffrey, Burns running into trouble, running into Ryan, who's held him up well. And that is Munster ball.
Yeah, and that had been a feature of Munster for so long. What they call the choke tackle, just holding it up, turning it into a mess on the ground and winning the turnover. And that's something, again, the last couple of years that Munster had gone away from a bit more of a chop tackle, low feature. And yeah, it's great to see that back a bit. Jack Niambar has obviously had a big effect on this defensive unit, and they're very confident in what they do, and there's very few gaps.
I think Leicester have got to try and drain the energy from the crowd. Don't play any rugby on the halfway line. Don't run into big tackles. Don't get the crowd cheering. The best way to do that, Freddie Burns has done this with a lot more composure in recent games. Put the ball on the floor, find the touchline, start again. Keep trying to push Munster back. If you play around that halfway line, you allow that Munster back row to get on you and tackle, this crowd suddenly has a massive impact in the outcome of the game.
Murray for Blayendal. He's playing the percentage game quite beautifully.
That's absolute mastery, I mean, just having a 10 there that can manage a game, a pack, putting in the effort at the scrum, they get up from that, and next thing they're 5-7 metres out from the Leicester line. I mean, it's just a godsend, and it just motivates them all the more.
Well, he's become a key part of operations here. He's in his third season with Munster, but only his 14th appearance because of a rash of injuries. Recent ankle problem ruled him out last week as well. Sweetenham, Thompson clings on, Zebo.
Advantage offside.
Stander, and the Tigers straying across the offside line. Oz.
Well, the kicking is becoming so important now in terms of territory. You've seen it, but you have to mitigate towards it, and Worth is an inexperienced 15. He ends up way too far away from Thompson. This is the third kick on the trot, and it ends up keeping the pressure on. You've also got to get in front of the advancing players. Don't allow them a free secondary bounce. That experience is going to be, well, crucial, because Munster have definitely got the upper hand so far.
First taste of Europe for George Worth. Third consecutive start, but only 20 years old. He'll know all about it by the end of the day.
Yeah, you'd expect to see a few high balls put on him possibly today. Maybe Munster might have wanted an old typical day here at Thomond Park in December. We had a lot of rain and a gale force, but they got a nice sunny day, so yeah, maybe they wanted a bit more of a greasy ball to stick up high ones, but no doubt he'll be tested later on in the day.
It's there. 16 points and a man of the match award in the game against Glasgow. And already Tyler Blayendal having an important say this afternoon.
Yeah, he's been great in all areas. His place kicking so far and his ball kicking out of hand has been exemplary. And just, you know, he's steering Munster in the right directions, and the pack are just doing the hard work up front.
Stander for Earls. Picked up on the run from Worth. Mullapola, Burns. Tigers just very lateral at this point. A line of red in front of them. Slater taking on that red line. McCaffrey. Burns. Nearly away. Quick ball to work with. Genge trying to gather on the charge. Couldn't. Munster back in possession and with opportunities on the counter. Tauta.
Advantage over!
Billy Hollands.
Use it!
And back to the controller. Look at that again, almost landing it on a sixpence. Worth is up to it. Sweetenham is there in his face once more.
Stay two.
Burns.
Stay there.
Well taken by Zebo, and there's plenty of space there. And he's done very well, Freddie Burns. The low trajectory.
Well, it
but
took
he's
a
found the
miracle.
bounce.
It took a miracle kick to turn that around. Leicester halfbacks getting punished, and a lesson in kicking and how to push territory around this field at Thornton Park. But they have to get on top of that area. You can't let the ball bounce. He did pull it out though, didn't he? It was a miracle kick to get Leicester back to the halfway line.
Yeah, very clever kick from Simon Zebo as well, using that monster left boot he has, just finding a bit of grass, making them turn, making Freddie Burns turn. And yeah, I think certainly Munster on top in the kicking game.
Secured by Omani.
No.
Now the home side going to work with their driving game. Niall Scannell. Tigers trying to use the touchline, but Murray has it.
Use it, red.
All options assessed by the Irish number 9.
Hands not on the ball. Hands not on the ball.
Blayendal.
Stay.
Yet again the bombardment. George Worth. Picked up by Youngs. Williams.
Stay. Onside now.
Very cool from Blayendal. Nonchalant.
I mean, I think he just knew by the flight of it, it was just going to bounce straight up in the air. If he went for it, you know, he's running backwards, he's blindsided, just lets it bounce straight up. Very nonchalant, as I say, very cool, calm. But yeah, I think Munster there trying a little bit of a maul in the start of that piece, and you know, I think Leicester as well were equal to the task in defence, and that's going to be a fantastic battle, I think, there. But for me, I think from a Leicester point of view, McCaffrey has been everywhere so far. He got man of the match here last year in this fixture, and he seems to have continued off just where he left off, and great carry to get them on the front foot earlier.
Number 4. Catching
And
in the
infringement
air,
at the line
down.
out, meaning the Tigers can get onto the front foot potentially here. Donica Ryan.
Yeah, you just can't do that, you know. I mean, that's going to be caught in this day and age, and you know, I suppose for Munster, I mean, they don't want to get the referee on their bad side. Roman Pot has a bit of a history here in Thomond Park down through the years. He actually reffed this fixture last year too, and there's a bit of a love-hate relationship with him here, and maybe more one-sided.
Yeah, when you say love-hate, do you actually mean?
I think he loves coming here, but I think he loves the vitriol that he gets thrown towards him as well at times.
He's just got the crowd back on his side by moving the penalty back 6 inches.
Well, it's an interesting decision from Leicester. This is a long way out. No gimme.
C'est pas plutôt 32?
51 metres out.
Il y en a 3 contre les rouges. Il y a la mêlée, le mec à 5 mètres.
It's not terribly pretty. It wasn't too far away though. 47 metres, his longest penalty this season. That 4 metres longer, and proving just a little bit too much. Sharpened up from the tee, Freddie Burns, kicking at 78% this season. Knows that if he is to break through on the international stage, that number has to be high 70s, early 80s. Conor Murray wrapped up by Owen Williams.
Back, green, back, four, back. Use it, red.
Stander carries so well, doesn't he? Even when he's got defence in front of him, he always makes that extra yard.
And so often, Austin, as well. He's got great work rate.
George Worth. Well, he secured the ball, but some excellent counter-rucking from Munster have given them a great opportunity with the advantage. Peter Romani secures it. Here's Zebo. Love those feet. And now the dancing shoes replaced by something a little more secure as they drive over the 10-metre line, and they are awarded the penalty.
That's exemplary from Simon Zebo. You know, he had to turn there and catch that pass. He timed his run slightly earlier for Conor Murray's pass and had to turn it and catch it. But you know, he just made meters where he shouldn't have. He gets tackled by 2 or 3 guys, and he's just pumping those legs, his work rate, and that's a big sign of this Munster team and this season. It's just their work rate. You know, they're working for those extra meters and just getting in behind Leicester.
So let's have a word with Jerry Flannery, part of the coaching setup at Munster. Jerry, you must be pleased with this start, and what's been particularly noticeable from up here has been the quality, the accuracy of the kicking game.
Yeah, I think at the moment both teams are trying to feel each other out. Both of them, Leicester and ourselves, both like to try and play a fairly pragmatic rugby and looking to territory. That means there's a lot of balls going into the air, so it's testing the work rate of the forwards. We've come out on top on a couple of them so far, Darren Sweetenham, and you have to put a lot down to the kick chase work from the forwards and turning scrappy ball over there like you just saw with the counter rucking. But at the moment I think we'd like to tighten up on our discipline. We've copped a couple of penalties at line out and at scrum.
And your area of responsibility as we watch Tyler Blayendale, might just pause for a moment here. It's big. It's very big from Blayendale. It's 3 more. Munster 9, Leicester 0. And Jerry, if you are still there, I was just going to ask you about the scrummage. You've only seen a handful of them. Clearly the Tigers arrive here without their linchpin at tight head, Dan Cole. Where do you see the balance of power at the moment there?
I think, like I said, there's a big onus on the forwards' work rate at the moment, and Mulipola has switched across to tight head at a late switch, so there's a big ask on him getting around the field so far. We've had 2 scrums so far, we've been decent, and we've conceded a penalty on one on their ball. But I think the more the game starts opening up and the more the forwards start getting tiredness in their legs, we're going to see one side come out on top, I think.
Jerry, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Conor Murray again orchestrating operations. It's gone very high. Nobody's claiming it. It's there for Tom Youngs. Gensch relishes the confrontational stuff, but they know all about that here. Marched backwards. Burns. Nice flat ball for McCaffrey, who's dumped in the tackle. Slater. Tom Youngs. Defensive line so quick. And joining from the side, Leicester penalised. More cheers ringing around Holman Park.
Yeah, I mean that was brilliant defence. It was not only very, I suppose, orchestrated, but it was just the level of the hit in it. Donegal Ryan coming in with a massive hit earlier in this phase, and then just CJ Sander, his work rate has been brilliant, and just getting in the ball, forcing them to give away the penalty, and you sense that Munster possibly getting on the right side of the ref.
Well, they are, because they're playing really good defensive rugby. Chop tackle, got next guy in, over the top. Doesn't matter who it is, if you're a prop, a back row, a centre, you're stood next to someone who gets chopped down, you get your body over the ball. And Leicester, because they're a bit short of numbers in each ruck, they're having to work a little bit harder. They end up having to hit side rucks to clear out.
They've been a tough nut to crack, Munster, in recent times. They've conceded only 8 points in their last 3 fixtures here. In the meantime, Ian Keatley is on for Rory Scannell. So Keatley into the centres. Referee's arm is out. Penalty advantage being played. Keatley threads it wide for Zebo. That's a clever little kick, and it won't quite sit for Earls.
Another penalty there. Slater coming in the side of the maul, and he was caught straight away. And again, another sign that might be under a little bit of pressure and just giving away those penalties.
Leicester going to have to be careful, aren't they? Consecutive penalties now. You carry on doing that, you risk the wrath of White and the yellow card. Munster just got a little bit more bite in everything that they're doing than Leicester so far.
Yes. Early in the air.
This first 26 minutes.
On the ground. Number 4 green. Yeah.
Simon Zebo offering a threat, whether ball in hand or via the boot.
Take the 15 if you want.
Peter O'Mahony taking a little bit of time out. And Tyler Blayendal setting up for a 4th penalty of the afternoon.
Ian Keatley, who of course has come on for Rory Scannell, has had a great few weeks. I think he's one of the players who typifies this resurgent, I suppose, Munster, and the way he clinched Munster victory last week in Glasgow with a last minute drop goal is kind of a sign of where he is and where Munster are.
Blayendal 12, Leicester 0, and the Tigers being punished by the boot. No Christmas presents here this afternoon.
Even Santa's on their side, so.
There's Rassie Erasmus, who could not have imagined all the things that have appeared on his plate in recent weeks, but what a resurgence he's presiding over now. Murray with the clearance.
Just the difference in those 2 kicks. The restart's a little bit aimless from Burns, doesn't allow anyone to compete under the ball. It's too far, and you find yourself back on the 10-metre line. It's actually not a bad position to be in. It's an area where Leicester will have spent a lot of time doing 100% plays, set-up plays. Mullapola in the midfield again, alongside Tuolangi. Which one of those 2 big units do you take if you're opposite him? I'd say neither.
Juan Moff has scored for Racing 92. In this pool, of course. Youngs, Genge. Tuolangi. Taken at source by Omani. Tigers going through a lot of phases with not much reward at the moment.
Yeah, Munster's line speed has been excellent as well. They're just getting up in their faces. So every time that Leicester do carry it, they're getting hit behind the gain line, and it makes it that much harder to recycle the ball and get in the front foot again. That man Tyler Brindall, he's been involved with about 3 or 4 tackles. One really good one at the start on Tuilagi.
Williams going wide. And O'Connor may have lost that. Let's hear what Romain Poit has to say here.
I think he said, it's a penalty to Munster.
Oui, tu as.
Sur la phase de ruck, j'ai
Ouais.
une prise au cou avec twist d'un joueur vert sur le premier soutien rouge. Il faut qu'on vérifie à la vidéo le numéro
We're
du
looking
joueur.
at the neck
Is it
roll.
neck
are
roll?
they?
Avec twist.
D'accord, pour toi, il faut aller un peu plus haut que CPP.
Oui.
D'accord. Arnaud, can you please check at the ruck form? Tu as got a twist by
so.
cleaning green.
I think it's
Could you
Owen
check the
Williams.
number? And can we review that, please?
Is it rolling green?
Je demande les
Yeah, I
images.
think Owen Williams
pour voir
comes in
pour le
late and
twist.
tries to
Par
remove
contre, j'avais pas l'angle de caméra
Munster
sur
player.
le.
I can't see who it is
highlight.
over the ball.
Ouais, ils vont t'en donner un, t'inquiète.
I think it might be O'Mahony. Yeah, here he comes. Is he around the neck now? Does he spin out?
D'accord.
It's marginal, isn't it? Penalty's already given. I don't think it's
Ça a l'air
sanctionable.
Trop méchant au ralenti.
Must be a penalty.
Le 12, il a
The
un
crowd will
bras
go for that
au-dessus
again.
des épaules et l'autre
Penalty want an execution.
sous l'aisselle. Et le twist.
Pour moi, je resterai sur une simple à
I'll have to correct you on
Je suis
Peter
d'accord
O'Mahony's
avec toi.
surname as well.
Oh, right.
Mahoney. O'Mahony.
I have no idea what he just said, but
Not speaking English.
So Romain Poit wanting a little word with Owen Williams.
It's not a bad picture, but it's a neck roll. It's just a penalty against you and a caution. Okay.
So another penalty. This one, at least from a Tigers perspective, is in the Munster half just. But that counts after half an hour. Already reads 5-3 against them. And Bleyendaal is poised
Yeah, Tutu.
to drive this as deep as possible.
Yeah, I suppose again we go back to Munster's defence. It was from the Leicester line out. It was probably a net loss of about 15 metres there from Munster, just through their defence, and ultimately getting the penalty. And you know, the team that's going forward ultimately, you know, normally gets the penalties, and especially with Poit, you know, he likes to I suppose give the team going forward that bit of a benefit of the doubt.
Well, the line out offered just about the perfect setup via Donica Ryan, and now CJ Stander's in the thick of things. Tigers splintering, Tauta bustling his way forwards. Murray, Zebo, the ball spilt. Opportunities here. Youngs couldn't get it away clean. Thompson for Beetham, who's taking the scenic route with the advantage already there for Leicester. That's loose. O'Connor tidies.
still playing with the advantage, so you can afford to be a little bit more risque. Throwing the ball along the floor.
Or risky even.
Risque, yeah, I like it.
Whatever you're into.
Here's Burns. I'm not sure that's quite the area of the field that Richard Cockrell will want that kind of thing happening.
And a kick from the knock-on is automatically advantage over, so it's not clever.
Kilcoyne straightens, and there's another penalty. There's going to be a card potentially here. He's reaching for the pocket.
This is third infringement in the game. Too much.
Yellow for Ed Slater.
It's a yellow for Slater, but really all the punishment will be heaped on Freddie Burns' shoulders for that decision. You're playing a little bit of risky rugby in your own half with the advantage from the knock-on, but the moment you put a little chip in, the advantage is over. And here it is. The space is there, but it's well covered by Tauta. And I think it's just, well, it's silly play. And I've said it already, but the story of this half is Leicester's halfbacks are not doing the right things for their team. Munster's are doing everything right.
Tough 10 minutes of contemplation for Ed Slater. And it feels like we've been here before this afternoon. Tyler Bleyendaal eyeing up the sticks. That one's wide. First miss of the day.
Hasn't put a foot wrong, has he, until then?
First miss, in fact, of his Champions Cup campaign. Tyler Blayendal. Score remains 12 points to 0, but still an awkward 9 minutes for Leicester to negotiate.
Do you think they're discussing, Wally, whether they should take him off now because of that?
Doubtful, I'd say. Doubtful, yeah. I mean, he has. He's been so composed, and he's kind of typified the whole nature of the Munster performance so far.
Burns has given that everything. Taken in by Murray. Zebo. Blayendal. Inside ball for Stander. Keatley. Earls. Scampering forwards. Brilliant offloading. O'Donnell. Straight through the middle of the ruck they go. Munster beginning to go through the gears at this stage. Blayendal, well held by Kilcoyne. Tuilangi with the tackle. Only really seen him on defensive duty so far this afternoon. Murray with options left and right. Zebo. Keatley moves it onwards. John Ryan made his international debut against Canada last month. Working that short side, threaded it nicely to Earls. Through the tunnel. Stander taking them on. Murray. O'Donnell. Still they build. Ryan again. Stander once more. Keatley. Still they go with the bludgeon. Lovely inside ball. What a sleight of hand! Magic from Murray. Pure magic!
What a beautiful pass. They're totally on the right page there.
Simon Zebo points to his man, points to his mate and says thank you for that.
Yeah, obviously good friends off the field as well. They're obviously always play on the same page, and both involved with Ireland over the fantastic November internationals, and obviously this is pre-arranged call, and it's just a perfect pass. Simon Zebo has been very good going forward all day, in every facet all day, and is getting involved. And CJ Stander, how many times is he involved in that in the lead up to that try? It's multi phases and tiring Leicester out.
And an easy 2 for Blayendal. And with Slater off the field, the Tigers have paid a heavy price. Conor Murray, who is just playing out of his skin at the moment, setting up the Zebo score, and plenty to think about for the Tigers coaching staff. The no-look pass, it was flicked away while nobody was watching.
And Leicester have been caught a couple of times. I remember CJ Stander's break earlier in the game, and just around that pillar spot, or that first roll in outside of the ruck. And it's probably somewhere area that they'll just need to tighten down on.
So now playing with great confidence and panache as Earls goes. McCaffrey on the ground. Munster with their tails up. Beetham. That's a decent nudge over the head of Blayendal.
Great patience, just waited for the ball to get across the line. I think Roman Pat's going to check. I think the ball was across the line.
I think the ball was across.
Waited long enough.
Yeah, I don't know if Tyler was across, but the ball had certainly crossed.
Bring back the ball in goal, please.
Yes,
I'm not sure
I
about
checked that.
Time off.
So did he carry it back over?
Back off.
Going to need a slower one, I think.
Arnaud, I have a decision. It's clear and obvious that the players didn't bring back the ball. It's a
Foot is over the
dropout.
line. Foot is on the
Okay,
line.
good.
On we go. So some relief from the Munster men. And Blayandal has gone long. McCaffrey. And it's taking so long. Tigers not taking care of business. They are not looking after their own possession.
Certainly not. It's not all Tigers though. Munster are so good this half. Look at the pressure they apply at the breakdown. McCaffrey's carried pretty well. He's hit.
You have the time on the ball.
And then they just make a mess of the breakdown. They don't allow any bodies to be seen, to be cleared out.
Not involved as a tackler. He was involved
He's too much
as
on his own when he's
assistant
carrying that ball,
tackler.
McCaffrey. It's a great carry, but there's just not the follow-up. There's not the support behind him to clear it out straight away. And Munster are that bit sharper and maybe that bit fitter.
And off they go. Blayandal full of adventure now, taken on by Niall Scannell. Holman Park is in terrific voice. Murray goes. That was forwards to Earls. Hold the roar.
You got to admire his endeavour there, you know.
He played the scrum.
Possibly, you know, maybe looking back at it, you know, he might have gone for touch and tried that more, but
well, 19 points up. You can do what you like.
yeah, but it's a long game, long half to go, and Leicester, you know, they're not a team who are going to lie down. They're going to regroup at half time and come back. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Please, Green.
Wonderful sound all around Holman Park. Fields of Athenry being sung with gusto.
Crutch. Keep your body weight. Keep your body weight. Thank you. Crutch.
Must be incredible to play in a place like this, David.
That's special, especially on days like today as well. You know, two massive teams going at each other, and yeah, it is so many great days here. Although not against Leicester, unfortunately.
Well, a fabulous occasion, a fabulous noise, and a fabulous performance from Munster in the first 40. Zebo's try made by a little bit of genius from Conor Murray, and 14 points to the boot of Tyler Blayandal. All the analysis to come in the company of Donncha O'Callaghan at the break. It's Munster 19, Leicester 0. Thanks, Craig. Still another minute and a half or so of the yellow card to see out from a Leicester perspective. So still big opportunities for Munster to build on this healthy lead that they've managed to grow quietly at first via the boot of Blayandal, and then the Zebo try adding to it all. And they're playing with tremendous confidence at the moment. CJ Stander has just been remarkable. 15 carries so far for 62 metres made. He is always there, always willing. Brilliantly taken from Burns. Tuolangi with the clear out. A handful of the Munster fans didn't enjoy that. Williams, Genge. Tigers need something early to give them a degree of hope here. Wide from Williams. Worth frees up the arms. Youngs to Youngs. Munster appealing, they've won the turnover ball. Ryan sets off.
Yeah, brilliant turnover at the breakdown.
Blayandal. Cleverly weighted. Running onto it is Worth. Tigers back inside their own half. Just a little glimmer of the power offered by Ellis Genj.
No. Leave it.
And Ben Young's running deliberately into Conor Murray and knowing full well that that would be the outcome.
9 red in
experience there.
Yeah, well, Leicester did come out of the blocks, and Munster were really up there to meet them. Peter O'Mahony got a good choke on a choke tackle on a play just before, but then gets a really important steal. But Leicester, I think, have regrouped. I think they're going to come at Munster, and Munster just need to be wide to that. That this is going to be a very different second half, and Leicester in the last 20 minutes of their games, that's when they do their most damage. So we'll need to be on point for the rest of this half.
Well, there is a history. There is a history of the Tigers scoring second half points. As we saw the opening round of the Premiership, didn't they? Came back from 17-point deficit at half-time to beat Gloucester. Yeah,
and one of the previous games here, obviously Leicester won 31-19, so we can expect 31 unanswered points now in this half.
Ball is secured, this time by Luke Hamilton, who's onto the field. And this is Thompson. Barely seen anything from Leicester, ball in hand. Youngs is going to have a little dart here, being held up in the choke tackle. Holland in the thick of it. And this ball is going to go Munster's way. Maybe without the intervention of Romain Poit's, certainly with it.
Yeah, again, another choke tackle. Again, we talked about it. It wasn't a thing that they weren't doing last year. They weren't choking. They were all low focus tackle, and it's very easy, I suppose, to read that and to set your game and tune your game for that.
If you want to play, red ball formed by green.
Surprisingly few scrums as well today. Just four scrums.
There's Luke Hamilton. Mike Fitzgerald, we understand, is having a head injury assessment.
Crutch. Pine. We keep the way that we got in the first half, okay? Space and wait for the last one. Patience. Don't pre-engage, okay? You are both in the same time at this one.
Just looking in the backfield here, Ali, and I think it's quite interesting, Leicester's defensive formation. That's quite a big gap, I think, to be able to cover. If you just go round the corner and draw man on man, you end up with a 3-on-2 on the outside. Conor Murray there. Got the ability to attack that side, but they'll obviously go the other way.
Stay.
Driven downfield and just overcooked by a fraction.
That was close.
Very close. I'd like to see a replay of that one.
Rory Scannell's boots. Bang on the whitewash.
They should have gone to the other side of the scrum.
Straight on the line.
Scannell patched up now, of course, and Keatley back onto the bench. So a little bit more ball, a little bit more in the way of possession for the Tigers, but then not straight from Tom Youngs.
Well, we were talking about this actually before the game, before the match, about the number of line-out drills you do, the amounts of how complicated they become. There was so much movement there. It's almost impossible for Tom Youngs to know where the ball's going.
And sometimes it's just speed that wins the ball, And if you make it a little bit overcomplicated, it just gives the opposition a bit of time just to get in the air and put you off.
I've been saying this for years. Through all the training sessions that we went to, the forwards would go off and they'd spend days doing line-outs. But if you let forwards think too much, they make mistakes. Chuck it in, jump, push.
Can't argue with you, unfortunately.
Feel free, Wally. Right, a free kick here for the Tigers, and they need to convert some of this pressure into points. Maybe Logo Mulipola will assist in that department. The tackle from Niall Scannell. Tom Youngs straightening.
What is there?
This after 47 minutes, the first excursion for the Tigers in the Munster 22. Williams smashed by Tauta, picked up by McCaffrey. Tauta quickly back to his feet, and then the ball spewing out, but not before being knocked forwards.
Oh, what an addition he has been to Munster. I mean, since day one, he came on against Leinster, he scored a try, and his physicality, he just bought into the team straight away, and he's been a massive force for us. You know, making that big hit there on Williams. He's down on the ground, he's back up, and he's making another tackle straight after it. And it's just that urgency, that work rate, you know, and that wanting to get involved and make positive motions.
What an impact Jaco Tauta's made in his brief time here in Munster, David. He's about to head back, isn't he, to South Africa. Brought in as injury cover for Francis Saili, who many Munster fans will be delighted to hear is near to being ready, but they're going to miss him.
We'll miss him, but yeah, as you say, I mean, Francis Saili is coming back, and he'll be a welcome addition as well. You know, he has that physicality, and you know, ex-All Black. He's also, you know, extremely talented going forward as well. I know he'll be relishing getting back and foaming at the mouth to get back into this Munster team.
Blayandal looking for Earls, tap back beautifully for Zebo. Space in behind George Worth. Earls is steaming upfield. Worth enveloped. Enough Tigers shirts there. What a baptism for the Leicester fullback. Youngs clears, that's coming our way.
Great vision there from Simon Zebo. Lovely little tap from Earlsy down to him. Again, they're on the same page. It's like this team, they know what each other is thinking. And Simon Zebo, you know, he has to do a little bit of work, a little bit of footwork, and you know, a lot of Leicester players. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players around him. He manages to find the space, finds Green, and puts it in behind and putting the pressure on Leicester.
So Munster back in the right part of the field from their perspective, and headed for the Tigers 22. It's in the arms of Niall Scannell. Donica Ryan has constructed this drive, roaring his men on.
Fantastic shape to them all. You look how low they are, you look how set they are, and there's no one going to be disrupting that, getting in amongst it, and it's like a scrum setup.
Red players first.
Tigers heading in reverse at speed. Conor Murray takes it to within 5 metres. John Ryan drives into Tom Youngs. A handful more metres. Stander again. Munster searching for a second. They've got it.
Second out.
Celebration time. Set up by the most immaculate of driving mauls, and finished by the big South African Jaco Tauta.
Yeah, I don't know, is that bring his try tally to 4 or 5, I think, for Munster, maybe 4. You know, he's only played probably 6 or 7 games. So yeah, look, he's been, what an addition, you know, in defence, in attack. He's loving playing here. Sorry to see him go.
Taking their opportunities, Austin. Barely been inside the Tigers' half in the second period.
All stems from a really good setup in the maul. Gets the Leicester pack mainly on the floor. They come round the corner. Murray's got the physicality to stand the tackle and still make yardage. But then there's a nice pickup that creates the space for Tauta. I think it might have been Billy Holland coming round the corner, really quick pickup, or CJ, that enabled them to really turn the corner quickly.
Yeah, CJ, he gets hit low, I think, by Slater, but manages to stay on his feet and not get knocked backwards. I don't know if he has that ability, but you know, it looked for all intents and purposes he was going to be driven backwards by Slater. Big man hitting him low, and you know, Stander losing his feet, but he just got that extra inch.
So we've spoken about the impact just brought over on a 4-month deal from September. Here's Blayendal again. $26-0. Munster firmly in charge, bossing proceedings this afternoon, and the Tigers have a little bit of trouble potentially because Freddie Burns is having to go off the field by the look of things.
Tommy, can you ask who is the new captain for Green?
I think he may have got injured tackling Clouta for that try.
So Burns off for how long we're not sure. An HIA for the Leicester fly half, and we also have a change in the front row. Mulapola's off, Greg Bateman is on. Brilliantly taken, pressure from Hamilton in the air. O'Mahony sets it up, Murray is clobbered. Tigers swarming, Munster having to work very hard to secure it. No hurry from Conor Murray. Another of those awkward testers. Tigers don't seem interested in taking that on the full whatsoever, and Billy Holland claims it.
No one claiming ownership for that one.
Here's Tauta. Big hit from Hamilton. Eager to make an impression from the bench. Blasting upfield is Kilcoyne. A roar with every charge. Zebo. Still wriggling. And Manu Tuolangi making a healthy mess of that ruck, and Tigers have the ball as a result. Kitchener. Roberts. Thompson.
Well, Leicester going back into the game, but the physicality for the first time showed by Manu Tuolangi enables him to turn the ball over and go wide. But this guy's going off here now from Munster. Made the try, in my mind. John Ryan, I think he's leaving the field now. It's just been announced, has it? Maybe not, but they just announced that John Ryan was leaving the field. He's decided that he's playing so well, he wants to stay on. We'll have a look at his pickup in a minute, but when you get the opportunity to go through the motions around the corner and not stop the momentum, it's very difficult defensively to stop the try from being scored. We'll take a look at it in a minute, but John Ryan and indeed Kilcoyne are having massive influence on the game.
Crunch! Hey, one green and 3 red, thank you.
So Freddie Burns will not be reappearing for Leicester. Jack Roberts is on for good then, with Williams now occupying the fly half role. Ten points here last season against Munster for Owen Williams. But a very significant role for the remaining 25 minutes here. Munster in total command. Romain Poit very anxious not to give a cheap penalty away come scrum time. Scannell is like a little caterpillar across the ground. O'Mahony trying to bounce through the tackle of Tom Youngs. Yet another awkward one. And Worth, to his credit, has held on to all the high stuff. Booted through.
That's loose at the breakdown there, but I think Pot might have missed what happened. He was just trying to tell the Munster defenders to get back on side, and I think he missed whatever happened.
Oz.
Well, just talking about John Ryan's carry before that set up the try. This is a perfect carry. There he is, he's highlighted. He comes round the corner, and watch how cleanly he picks the ball up in one motion. He's just round the corner. The defence can't get in position early enough, and then all the forwards are backing off Stander gets round one more corner. There's not enough guys on the far side, and the try is created.
Great clean out from Billy Holland and Dave Kilcoyne as well there. They're right at the scene at the right time and just making sure that ball is quick.
Change of scrum half for Leicester. Sam Harrison on for Ben Youngs. Quite a big call with still 25 minutes to play, but of course there are other battles for the Tigers to fight. Sweetenham. Blayendal. Tauta. Kilcoyne, who licks his lips every time he's given the ball.
Such a dynamic ball carrier.
Sweetenham. Opportunities here for Munster. Still Sweetenham. Brilliant offloading. Tauta's in again. Munster running wild.
Sweetenham, we haven't seen him with a lot of ball in hand today, but you know, he made a bit of a break here on this side, and another one later on there. Just a great great offload there to Tauta, and a second try. And you know, I think he's going to remember this trip to Munster very, very fondly.
Yes, the angle he picks, isn't it? He gets on the outside shoulder of Tom Youngs and just keeps running. Thompson has to drop off to cover the outside, but what an offload that is to the inside. The Tauta's second. Munster just streets ahead of Leicester this afternoon in every department, particularly from 1 to 10. And then when you get the ball out wide and you get matchups, you get your wingers running at front rows, you get the 3 tries that you deserve.
Well, it was a lovely break from Darren Sweetenham, and it left Jaakko Tauta to finish it off. There'll be a red carpet laid out on the way to the airport, I would suggest.
So you get some send-off.
They won't, they'll take the wheels off the taxi.
No extras this time around, but look at that scoreline, 31 points to 0. Richard Cockerell and Aaron Major having hoped that their season had taken a turn for the better after a pretty scratchy opening.
Well, there's the 31 points you were talking about, Austin. But
yeah, unanswered. Told you it was going to happen.
But of course we got just over 20 minutes now as well for Munster to go and target that bonus point. And let's see, you know, they don't need to rush it, they don't need to force it, they just need to hold on to the ball, and hopefully that the opportunities will come.
Changes being made by Rassie Erasmus. Dave Kilcoyne is off, replaced by Thomas du Toit, and Tommy O'Donnell is replaced by Jack O'Donoghue in the back row. Munster now hunting a bonus point with turnover ball. O'Mahony.
Advantage over.
First touch for John Klein, making his European debut. And again, Murray driving them upfield via the boot. George Worth looks once, looks twice, and sees Darren Sweetenham everywhere.
Darren Sweetenham was excellently escorted back there in that kick. He wasn't being let get anywhere near Worth.
Well, he is shadowed Worth all day, isn't he? Harrison to Genge. A strong initial surge.
Oh, Manu Tuolangi could be in trouble here. Just depends what part of his body makes contact in the ruck. He comes in late for the clear out. They're going to take a look at it.
TMO time. Arnaud Blondel.
Sur la phase de ruck, là, j'ai une charge du numéro 13 vert sur un joueur rouge.
Oui.
Charge, il fait aucun effort pour en serrer.
D'accord. Ta recommandation?
Ma recommandation, pénalité carton jaune contre le numéro 13 vert.
D'accord. Captain?
Sounds like a yellow for Tuolangi.
13. 13.
Manu! What's happened?
He's a hard man to
I will
hide.
explain.
Interesting that they've gone
Clear
straight to the yellow.
explanation by assistant referee. No arms and dangerous charge at work.
It gets worse for the Tigers. One of their key men, the man who can offer them so much by way of power and influence on the fields, is off to the bin.
He is for a dangerous charge at the ruck, but in actual fact, there's not a lot wrong with
Time
that.
back on.
It's just outcome based. It looked a lot worse. He leads with his head, but he doesn't connect with the head. The swinging arm looks like he's trying to grab the body. I think it's a harsh yellow. I think it's outcome based. It looked a lot worse than it actually was. If they'd have gone upstairs and looked at that again, it's not a clear-cut yellow. Maybe Munster fans thinking that I'm Tiger biased there, but generally don't think that was as clear-cut as everyone else did.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he might be a victim there of his own strength and power.
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
he's coming in, but I think they are clamping down a bit on in the breakdown, where guys are, I suppose they're
Open the gap, Green.
they're a bit
Open it.
exposed, you know, and they can't see what's coming. You got a guy coming from 10 metres. They want to cut down on those dangerous charges, I suppose.
Ed Slater, the new Leicester skipper, with Tom Youngs going off, replaced by George McGuigan. And Munster looking to make this numerical advantage pay. Ryan driven back in the tackle, but they're only 10 metres away. Murray, Scannell, Blayendal, Stander, brought down by McGuigan. O'Mahony yet again.
Turn of a ball, turn of a ball.
Tigers successful at the breakdown. Great work from McCaffrey.
Please back red. Use it, Green.
Harrison
Stay, Green.
and Williams has found a good touch.
Yeah, Munster will be a little bit disappointed. You know, that's an opportune time to get a bonus point. You got to try and get a bonus point with a man in the bin as well. But look, they're still down here. They're in the right position. So hopefully they can just build something. Certainly the maul setup wasn't as strong as we saw earlier. wasn't as precise, and a little bit of one-out runners. Peter Manny was caught a little bit isolated, slower ball, and just probably need to keep that work rate high in terms of staying with each other and making sure the ball is quick and secure.
Scannell finding Donica Ryan. This looks a little bit more precise than the last one. They have a wonderful platform and they're driving inside the 22 now.
Once.
Murray being offered the ball. Keen to work that short side as much as possible. Dutoy.
Ball out, ball out.
Stander. Is that a little knock on? Suggestion of one from Conor Murray. Roman Poit unmoved. Scannell. Back they go once more. Jack O'Donoghue. Fresh legs for Munster. O'Mahony.
Off your feet, Green, off.
Blayendal sends it wide. Good work from Roberts. Nowhere for Sweetenham to go that time, and now it's been knocked forwards, and one or two errors creeping in as Munster get excited with the prospects of 4 tries and a bonus point.
Yeah, I don't think they need to force it. You know, I think they're looking to try and score this try. You know, through any bit of open play. But I think you just need to build the phases. And again, there were times again there that the urgency was just down slightly. Maybe they're a little bit more tired, and that the separation between the support and the ball carrier was just that little bit too much. And Leicester were getting hands in. I think maybe Munster were a little bit unlucky not to get a penalty there. It was a Leicester player off his feet slowing up the ball.
Lots more rugby to come, of course, and right now on BT Sport 3 HD you can see Racing 92 against Glasgow.
Scrum half.
And then tomorrow we are at Sandy Park. Exeter against Bordeaux, 5:15, 2HD and 4K, UHD, and all the highlights a little later on in the evening, 7:45. All the best of round 3 as we see Conor Murray make his way off the field. And don't forget rugby tonight, next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, with a special interview with the England head coach Eddie Jones. So changes made. Duncan Williams on for Murray at scrum half now.
Same like them.
Both sets of coaches starting to think about next week. Ben Youngs came off a lot earlier. Just shows how influential both the nines are to their sides. Conor Murray definitely having the upper hand this afternoon, particularly with his kicking game. It's been excellent.
There's a case to be made about whether he's actually the best 9 in the world right now.
I'd absolutely go along with that. He's certainly up there, and for me, I think he is. The way he controls the game, he's also defensively incredibly strong. He at least stops one try every game. You know, his corner flagging and his ability to stop tries. He's like an extra back row, and also that helps a lot. Like we've seen a few times today, where he's had a bit of pressure on him. Certainly Leicester have tried to go after him and tackle him in around the breakdown. He has that strength and ability to stay on his feet, not get blown backwards, or maybe even fight an extra yard.
Crutch.
Well, it's a nice situation for Andy Farrell to be in, with Ireland, of course, but particularly with the Lions in mind next summer against New Zealand. Murray perhaps the prime contender. So much rugby to be played though. Harrison to Worth, tackled by Blayendal. Slater.
Offside advantage.
And Munster straying offside, so penalty coming Tigers' way. Plenty of space here for Tobston. And he gets the ball away nicely to O'Connor. Roberts on the charge. Roberts up against Zebo. And the Munster fullback has his man. Kitchener whips it away. And then it's not forwards. May have been in touch in the first place. Is the assistant referee involved?
Well, that's a great way to take the freebie, isn't it, from the penalty? Lovely cross kick. They're in touch there first, I think, before that ball's offloaded to Roberts. Zebo does very well to get back because Roberts is exceptionally quick.
In a strange way, I was nearly hoping that Leicester would score there, because it would bring us back down the field here and possibly, you know, get the ball back in our hands a little bit quicker to get a bonus point try. You know, if we play around here for another 5 minutes, you know, that yellow card will be up, and
he's had some game, hasn't he, John Ryan?
John Ryan, he's phenomenal this season. You know, one of the real positives, I think, you know, that's come on this season as well is him. How he's progressed. He's been called up to an Irish squad as well, and just his scrummaging, his work rate around the park, and his ball carrying ability.
Straight down.
Scrum penalty going Leicester's way.
Be on the ground, straight down. I am here.
Stephen Archer onto the field for John Ryan now. So 2 new props for Munster. And the Tigers searching for something here. Anything, frankly, at this point. 14 men on the pitch. 14 minutes to play. And being smashed off the field.
8 or 7. Number 8. That's correct. Gap on the line. Open it.
Lockie McCaffrey's making way. He's going to be replaced by Will Evans.
Time back on.
McCaffrey industrious as ever, but they have been right up against it this afternoon. What can they do from here? Hamilton held up by O'Donoghue, but that's an excellent drive. Slater.
No hands!
Inch by inch. Harrison, McGuigan, stopped early by Blayendal, and then the cavalry arrive, and the ball is ripped by CJ Stander to the roar of Thomond Park. Blayendal. Defensively today, Munster have been huge.
Yeah, I think the Scanlon Blindhall tackle there before that, massive holding up the ball. How many times have we seen that? Just holding up the ball. It's nearly becoming a maul, but not quite. And they're being wise enough just to get out of the way as well. When when it does go to ground, it becomes a ruck, and they can get caught offside. And that's one of the dangers of this choke tackle. But Stander there, he's been phenomenal. Look at those carries, 19 carries, leaders made, gain line success. Tackles. So he's just put in a monumental performance, and a great go forward for Munster.
Another Lions contender in a hotly contested area, of course, number 8. Tigers being dispatched beyond the 22, now regrouping. Hamilton, who's definitely added a little something since he came on. Williams. That's a horrible ball for George Worth to deal with, and Conway's livid with himself. Having just come onto the field, he had to make that stay in play somehow or other.
Yeah, and you would have backed him as well if that had stayed in field. He's got great gas, he's got unbelievable footwork, but brilliant speed along with it. And just it was a difficult angle for him. The ball was going away from him, and he was running towards the touchline. So it was going to be a difficult kick for him, but you certainly would have backed him.
Really strange breakout from Leicester.
On the mark.
Try and keep everyone tight, and then throw a long ball over the top to an isolated player. Tactically on the field today, they've been completely outnoused.
But again, I think you've just made up a new word there, Oz.
Outnoused?
Yeah. It's a good one.
I like it. Good ring to it, yeah. Very good.
It's in my dictionary, Ali, along with a load of other words that no one's heard of.
Thankfully.
You carry on, I'll show you one of the others.
Manu Tuilagi will not be coming back on the fields. Tom Brady will be taking his position with the yellow card now done and dusted. Stand up and fight.
Yeah,
they've done both of those things this afternoon, Munster.
And again, there was 2 other incidents that we talked about earlier, just about a minute ago, where Munster were defending them all, and again, fantastic defence. Really committed late on in the game, and didn't give any impetus or momentum to Leicester.
Wide via the hands of Beetham and Thompson.
It's in the dictionary, Ali, outnoused, to completely outplay the opposition in every aspect and facet of the game.
Well, that's what's happening here. Leicester, just as they think they might be getting a little bit of purchase on the game, being driven backwards. Genge again on the carry. Williams, nice pick up from McGuigan, and the ball is good for Harrison. Tigers looking to raise the tempo here. Brady enveloped, again held up by Stander and ripped by O'Mahony, just out-muscled. How many times has that happened this afternoon?
Yeah, countless times, haven't it? And it's just a sign of their mentality. They're up for it physically, and the likes of Stander and Peter O'Mahony, that's what they bring to the game, is physicality, and they've used it all day.
And again, Leicester guilty of letting the ball bounce, and Munster make another 20 metres. Driven on by O'Donoghue. They are after that bonus point try. Scannell. Blayendal. Over the top to Sweetenham. Shadowed by Thompson. That's a naughty one. It's going to sit up. It won't sit up because Tauta cannot gather it in. George Worth is going to see yellow, and that is a penalty try. It is the bonus point try.
Well, you feel for Tauta. I don't think you ever would have got to it. The hat-trick would have been lovely, but possibly a little bit of a soft penalty try. That ball was always going to go dead, but maybe a silly one by Leicester.
Well, it's a penalty. It's not a penalty try. The ball was in the first 2 rows of the stand. It's a lovely piece of play from Sweetenham again. Gets the chip over, doesn't quite bounce up. I'm sorry, he's not getting to that ball in the month of Sundays, but you could argue that they deserve the try. Leicester just being destroyed again, both tight and out wide. It kicks on. Unless he's got arms like Mr. Tickle, he's not scoring that.
We'll give it to him anyway.
Yeah,
it's another jacket.
I think Munster deserve it, but what's going through these Leicester players' minds now is next week. This is the beauty of Europe. When you get these back-to-back games, you often see a side get absolutely humped in the first one and then bounce back in the return. And that's what will be going through every Leicester player's mind, every Leicester supporter, and certainly in Richard Cockrell's head.
Tyler Blayendal's day is done, and it's been another outstanding one for the Kiwi fly half. Controlled the game beautifully. He's put Munster in all the right parts of the pitch, and he's kicked his goals.
Yeah, and he's certainly up there for man of the match, isn't he? Along with Stander, Jack O'Tauda as well. There's probably a whole host of guys, really. Peter O'Mahony as well has been so influential in breakdown and the line out as well. But look, it certainly is a team performance, and you look at them now. Look at the line chase there from that kick. It's really solid. They're playing with energy. Guys coming on. Guys like here, Andrew Conway. Just coming on and raising to the standard.
Keith Earls spotting the gap, through the gap. Williams is on his shoulder. Dragged down by Brendan O'Connor, who is playing with a degree of desperation that is absolutely required by Leicester right now.
And even now, Ali, this deep into the game, Munster still piling into the breakdown. Made it so difficult to Leicester to play, and that physicality in every tackle.
Brady knocks on because of the pressure of the defence. Another tricky little chip, just rolling too far this time. Well, they are some force when they are in this mood, Munster. 38 points to 0. It has been absolutely comprehensive in every area of the field. Tigers now having to contemplate not only this defeat, but the humbling at the hands of Glasgow in round one. It's a testing one for Mr. Cockrell, this one, Austin.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be a difficult week for Leicester Tigers players turning it around, but what a performance from all the Munster players. 1 to 15, in particular 1 to 10. It's very difficult to pick out a man of the match. Blayendal obviously gave them composure and control early on, but when you look at the stats and when you look at the physicality, CJ Stander, 20 carries, 10 tackles, doesn't tell the complete story. He's set that physical tone, he's set the momentum for this team. He's our Heineken man of the match. This is the Munster of old. This is Munster from 5 or 6 years ago, where it doesn't matter if your name's on the World 15 team. If you're wearing that red shirt, you perform 10, 20% better than you do in any other.
This margin now, the heaviest European defeat that the Tigers will have ever suffered. Humbled. Harrison. Williams. Andrew Conway. Brady. Keith Earls is onto it. Harrison is back. And a little knock on.
He's back and he's brave. He did well to get down on the first ball and then really put his head in the way of flying boots for the second one.
The sardine opened up now, isn't it? It's just becoming a little bit looser, a few little kicks in behind. That's great covering though.
Let's go, guys.
Rory Scannell nearly takes his head off there.
He's lucky he didn't connect, isn't he?
Crutch! One. Set.
Huge surge from the Munster pack, and they're rewarded with the penalty.
Going in. Loose set. Loose set.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Heineken man of the match this evening,
Loose set, not
Munster
straight.
CJ Stander.
That's the roar for CJ Stander's appointment as man of the match.
I'm just glad they
Popular
didn't.
everywhere, even in Lapland.
I'm just glad he didn't follow up with the guy that picked him, because there would have been a massive boo straight after it.
So looking to finish with something extra, perhaps. 3 minutes left to play. Apologies for the language you may have just heard.
6.
Peter O'Mahony, who yet again has been at the heart of things for Munster. It's gone forwards, though, in the process of the transferal.
Knock on that line out.
What a man to have in your camp, David Wallace.
Yeah,
Peter O'Mahony, you just know you're going to get 100% every single time he goes on the field. It matters so much to him.
Yeah, he was a big missing part of the jigsaw last year, and we're so happy to have him back. He obviously suffered that horrific injury in the World Cup and basically lost the season, and he's been brilliant. He's a leader, and off the pitch and on the pitch, and just the physicality he brings. He's one of those totems for Munster and Ireland. And when you have as you say, when you have him in your team, you know what you're going to get.
Luke Hamilton sizing up Williams and dispatching him. Harrison. Not quite with the distance he was after, but for now they'll just be happy to be outside the 22.
Yeah, he's impressed since he's come on, Luke Hamilton. He's been very aggressive, he's been very physical, he's been around the park. I think that head of blonde hair as well, jumping around the place, sets him off a bit as well. And a bit like a back row Simon Gagan maybe of old. But he's been impressive since he came on.
It's loose.
Backward.
And
Back in.
Williams and Brady are having to operate with red shirts everywhere. Just about enough bodies arriving for Leicester, who are trapped deep inside their 22 with 30 seconds of the match remaining. A match in which they've been completely outclassed. One last hefty boot from Owen Williams. Here's Conway. Ball lost forwards and away into touch as well. And that is it. An absolute thumping for the Leicester Tigers, and another masterclass from Munster. Another superlative European outing, and the tributes on the pitch to Anthony Foley just keep on flowing. 2 from 2 in Pool 1 and with a game in hand. They are driving this pool. That is the heaviest margin of defeat for the Tigers in their European history, in their proud European history. But you can't argue with it, David Wallace. Munster better in every single department.
Absolutely. I think that first half, they just got on the right side of the referee and kept that scoreboard ticking over. Tyler Blindenhall, and on the pitch as well, just steering him into the right parts of the pitch. But the second half as well, they just came out, and Leicester went at them, but Munster just withheld it, and you found their opportunities and got that bonus point. So very good position in their home domestically, top of the table, and now 10 points from 2 games in Europe. Very good position in those tables, and also mentally on the pitch and off the pitch.
Well, Leicester humbled, simply humbled, but they have the luxury of a quick turnaround to try and restore some pride against Munster next week. I said on Rugby Tonight at the start of the season, I thought it could be a big year for Munster. They've got some great names, and they've got that great old Munster ethos back, and they've got it back in spades. They hunt like a pack, and when they get on top of you, they destroy you. They are now one of the favourites yet again for this tournament.
A brilliant performance, a truly brilliant performance, whilst the Tigers' challenge is all but over for another year. This, of course, coupled with that defeat to Glasgow away, means they are almost out of options in Europe. For Munster, though, 2 bonus point wins, and today, driven on by their number 8, our man of the match, CJ Stander, who's with Tim Cocker.
Thanks, Ali. Yeah, CJ, you've had some memorable days in recent weeks wearing the green of Ireland, but how do you feel after a performance like that back in the red of Munster?
Yeah, you know, when you're up in camp and you see the boys perform, you know, down here, you just want to be back in the team, and fair play to the boys. Everyone pitched up today and we played the way we wanted to, you know, but also on the other end, there's only first half now. We're going there next week, and we were disappointed last year, so hopefully we can stick it up again.
It must take a lot of confidence, though. It's been 13 years since Leicester were last nilled in this competition. A hugely physical defensive performance was the basis for that win.
Yeah, look, we worked a lot on our defence the last few months, you know, and in fairness to Jock, he's very passionate about his defence, and we tap off that, you know, and that's something we worked on, and just fair play to all the boys for sticking up the hand and making that first off tackles.
You take the accolades as man of the match, but I'm sure you'd be the first person to say that was a full team performance.
I know for sure, you know, everyone, as I said, stepped up, you know, from the forwards to the back line. We just wanted to play the way we wanted to play, you know, and the fairness, when we look up from the forwards, the back line's over the advantage line, and it makes you happy when you're a forward, you know, so it's a great performance, but it's back to the wheel now on Monday, and just to work hard for next Saturday.
That said, you know, the whole province will be celebrating tonight. Will you and the boys get the chance to celebrate a victory like that as much as you want to focus on next week? Yeah, you have to celebrate the small wins, you know, and we worked hard, you know, especially coming from last year. So we need to celebrate this, but also then when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's back to the basics, you know, and see what we didn't do right today and fix that. Well, CJ, congratulations. Pat Marr from Heineken is presenting you quite rightly with your Heineken Man of the Match award. Well done.
Massively for the club, massively for our European rugby. We don't fucking take a step back. We don't fucking dwell on this, and we fucking move on.